Welcome back. This is segment 2 of class 1 of Building a Listening Partnership. So when that really precious, powerful sense of connection breaks, we can't think. The limbic system powers our ability to access our judgment and our short-term memory and our impulse control and our ability to reason right up here. And we no longer can do rational things easily. Sometimes we can muddle through, but it's not easy, and we don't feel happy about it. We feel hurt. Every time a sense of connection breaks, it shuts down our thinking and it makes us feel hurt. And the hurts are not all the same. It's like there's really a million ways to feel hurt. Probably there are as many ways to feel hurt as there are people on the planet, and incidents that have happened to them. I think each one of us has our own set of ways that we tend to feel hurt. And these feelings come from the things that have happened to us in our lives. They don't come from nowhere. And they're not just like the feelings of someone else. They are our feelings, very personal to us, that have arisen out of incidents that hurt us. Oftentimes incidents that hurt us when we were quite small and vulnerable. When people couldn't love us well enough, when people couldn't pay enough attention, when people couldn't be positive towards us, when we were treated harshly, when we were blamed for upsetting our parents, when we didn't quite know how to read and people made fun of us. There's all kinds of things that can happen to a vulnerable young child that are not reflective of respect, are not reflective of caring, that are not reflective of, people thinking together about how best to move forward. And when children are exposed to this kind of behavior, it frightens them every single time. Children are built for the best possible human behavior. They're built for the best possible connection. And anything less, goes in as a ding, a hurt. There's a feeling that goes with it. So we were very young, we were very vulnerable, just like our own children are now. And things happened to us that our parents could not prevent. Some of those things were external, like getting sick, getting the chicken pox, and then getting, sick right after that. So we were sick a long time, having accidents, having difficult things happen in our families. And some of them were more personal, sort of the ways we were disciplined, the ways our parents tended to blame us for the bad feelings that they had, the ways we got treated in school, the people who didn't think we were smart, the people who didn't think we behaved well enough, treated us like that, and we got those negative messages. When a child gets hurt, what happens is the mind shuts down, but the mind is at the same time processing all the things that are happening, the sights and the sounds and the smells. The whole scene around is being processed by the mind. But as long as the mind is shut down and out of connection, all of that information soaks into the mind and it jams together and kind of gets glued together or glommed together with the feelings of the moment. So if we're being scolded, what goes in is, the sight of the dog, which we pestered in order to get scolded. We were not feeling all that great ourselves, so we were hard on the dog, and then our parent was hard on us. So we're getting scolded, but it's what the dog looked like, it's where we were in the backyard, it's what kind of a day it was, whether it was sunny and hot or cold and windy. It was where our brothers and sisters were, it was the smell of the wood smoke in the yard. All of those things are recorded inside the mind, but the mind is not working well enough to process the information. So all of that information gets wadded in with, my daddy doesn't like me, or my mommy thinks I'm bad, and the feeling that goes with it for that child. And, people come out of it, people get back into better connection, they have, they kind of muddle through, and then they begin to play again and communicate again, and the mind comes back online. But what's left is this little wad of experience that's all bound together by a bad feeling, an upset feeling. So what happens is that this gets filed away in the emotional memory. And the next time the child is out in the backyard with the dog and there's a smell of wood smoke in the air, it could easily be that the child will get, uneasy, will start feeling bad about himself again, because the mind is going, wood smoke, dog, what do I remember about wood smoke and dog at the same time? Ooh, I'm a bad person. And all of a sudden that feeling can flood a child from something that happened, yesterday, or even 2 years ago, or even way back when they were a little baby. It doesn't take much to trigger a search in the mind for information, and if there's hurt in there, up comes a big wad of hurt and floods the child's mind, so the child can't think anymore. And the child has a reoccurrence of this inability to think and this inability to feel connected. So we, who've been around 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, by the time we have children, have a little house cleaning to do. We've got these large and small wads of experience that didn't go so well for us. And we still don't understand that experience very well. There's information in there that needs to get sorted out. But it can't until the glue of those feelings is released, the emotional tension, is released. So when people don't feel connected, instead of thinking rational, fluid, in-tune behavior coming out, what comes out is something rigid, a tone of voice, a posture, a phrase, a set of words that don't reflect what the person really wants. They reflect what the person has experienced. So when you've been that child who got scolded for pestering the dog and got told they were bad, you grow up and your child pesters a dog, your mind is going to go, what do we know about dogs getting pestered? Oh. And a big feeling will roll over you, and your temptation is going to be to scold your child with almost exactly the same words that your parent used on you. Because that's what your mind brings up. The fact that there are feelings in this experience that's being called upon by your mind to inform you means that those feelings flood your system, those feelings turn off your prefrontal cortex, and the impulse control that it contains, and the good judgment that it contains, and the memory that your child is actually good and you love them, that kind of blinks out. And all of a sudden there you are with a gruff voice doing what your parents did to you. Whether you remember it or not, what will happen to you is kind of a replay of things you've been through, words you've heard, behaviors you've seen or been victim of. So this means that we as parents have some hard times, because our children sooner or later will probably pull every single behavior that there is to pull, and the things that we're disapproved of in our growing up are going to trigger big feelings in us. So we're going to have a bit of an emotional ride, roller coaster ride, where all of a sudden we're angry, or all of a sudden we're sad, or all of a sudden we're upset, because they are triggering feelings that we haven't resolved, that we carry with us day to day. And before we had children, those feelings kind of stayed put away, because there were not small children to kick them up into play. We were hanging out with grown-ups who were not, sort of crying because we cut their sandwich the wrong way. They weren't having tantrums in front of us. And so we weren't faced with some of the highly emotional times that we'd been through as children. We weren't faced with feeling the feelings again, that, a replay of what happened to us when we were children. So, listening heals. It's like what can heal the situation of the mind being flooded with feelings, the hurt getting activated again by the mind's effort to figure out, how do I understand the situation, and us feeling disconnected, feeling embattled, feeling unable, feeling incompetent, feeling like we don't know what to do, which, may actually be true, but it's okay. So what happens when we have these big feelings is that the remedy is someone moving in and bringing connection, bringing an offer to connect with us. And if someone can move in and listen, what will happen is that we will instinctively tell them what's on our mind. We'll instinctively tell them what bothered us, what happened, what triggered our feelings, what we can't stand about our children, what we can't stand about our situation, what we wish were different. And if someone can listen, not jump in and try to fix it, not tell us what to do, not order us around, not judge us as bad because of how we feel or because of what we don't know, but if someone can simply listen, and when we kind of slow down, say, what else? You know, we can talk about the situation, and simply talking can release some of the emotional tension that's blocking our ability to get our thinking back. And when it gets safe enough, when someone listens well enough over time, what happens is that we begin to sense that this would be a person that we could show our feelings to. This is a person who's not going to react. This is a person who's not going to spank us because we feel like having a tantrum. This is a person who's not going to yell at us because we cried for more than 15 seconds. You know, this is a person who is sticking with us, who's interested, who wants to hear what's on our mind. And so we feel slowly but surely safer, and we show slowly but surely more feelings to them as we talk about the challenges in front of us as a parent. And when we can talk, when we can laugh, when we can cry, when we can show frustration through a tantrum, when we can perspire because we're feeling, nervous or upset or scared, and when we can tremble because we are feeling scared, what happens is that the mind is releasing the emotional tension it's been holding on to for years. And as our minds release the stored tension that comes from hard times in the past when no one could really listen to us, no one really knew what a good kid we were, no one knew how hard we were trying, no one knew we weren't to blame for their bad feelings. Times when it was hard back there and there wasn't a listener, tension from those times pours off. It pours off, and those outward signs are a sign that there's an instinctive healing process happening, and that this person is going to be able to think better after they've been listened to than they could think when they walked in. And this process happens instinctively. There are things you can do to make it work well. There are things you can do to kind of assist with this process, but every single one of us has access to this process as long as someone is able to listen long enough and is able to hold, respect and warm regard for the person again and again while they explore their experience. The power of listening is great. It's instinctive, and you can use it to your benefit and to the benefit of whoever you bring in to do a listening partnership with you.